There is an old school DIY waterproofing recipe floating around the internet. It's 2-part wax to 1 part boiled linseed oil and 1 part turpentine, and just a couple drops of the essential oil. It sounds easy enough. I love doing DIY stuff. It was going to be cheaper, and it would make for probably a pretty cool video. Creating this waterproofing solution was actually pretty fun. It kind of makes you feel like you're doing a 3rd grade science project. They say that peppermint is supposed to repel bugs. I didn't look into that too deeply, but so making it was fun. Applying it to the canvas, not as fun. I tried several ways. The first way was to rub it in with a rag, and then Bob Vila said that you're supposed to put it on while it's melted with a paintbrush. And either way, after you do that step, then you hit it with a heat gun, and it's supposed to melt the wax, and it's supposed to penetrate into the fibers of the canvas. When you melt it, it clearly does bond to the canvas, but it still is sitting on top of the canvas, and if you have too much of it, you're gonna get a waxy layer. I'm not completely sold on this. You can see this section here, it's lighter colored, it's more pliable, this doesn't have the wax. You can see all that, how it's crumply, and when you crease the areas that have the wax, you then get those lines. The wax is not completely embedded into the canvas, and it's still sort of sitting on top. But if it works, then we're all good. I was planning on doing the entire canvas, and after I went through all of this process of trying to apply it and not really knowing if I was doing it right, I just decided to just do the top. And then I also ended up doing 1 section on the front, which I kind of regret because you can clearly see one section is a different color than the other. And so the front, let's quit beating around the bush and let's run an actual waterproofing test on this right now. Rainstorm. This part, you would be totally screwed, but I know you want to know about the wax, so let's just take a quick look at the front. Looks pretty good there. You can see the water beating, and you can see it beating on top. Well, I can see it beating on top. I don't know if you can see it. Let's go inside. Look, there are wet spots on my bed, and they're not wet for me. But as I'm touching this canvas inside, this is completely dry. Completely dry right here. I'm touching this, completely dry. That's pretty cool, actually. Let's touch the inside of this part. This is completely dry. This is soaked. You can feel it. This is soaked. Waxy part, completely dry inside, but a little bit of grit here. Possibly whatever waterproof coating this had on before I got it, or possibly even just the canvas itself disintegrating because it's over 30 years old. I'm not sure. But on the roof, that definitely worked. Let's check out these corners here. All right, I'm grabbing the mattress. It's wet. It's wet. And you can see some puddling right down there. That's a bummer. Okay, so we know the whole thing's not completely waterproof. Knew that growing in because I hadn't applied the solution to the entire canvas, but let's hit it with some more water, see what happens. The zipper was open. Not a real rainstorm, but that was quite a bit of water. Let's jump back inside and look at it. There appears to be a leak. But the question is, where is that leak coming from? Up here, maybe I can feel just a little bit of moisture. That might just be because I was dousing my hand in that puddle. Little bit of moisture, not much. But I was pushing a lot of water onto this canvas right here. Same thing, feels like a little bit of water. And down here it's completely soaked. So even if this isn't completely waterproof, what it did bring to light is that you need to have your pulls super tight to make this canvas as taut as possible. Because over here in the corner, you can see it started to pool, and there's actually some water sitting there right now, and you can see it just starting to drip in. And you can see the water just leaking in here from the base where it pools outside. And the water's definitely pooling right here. So that is a major problem spot. Okay, here's a look at the outside on the front. You can see the way the canvas just sits there and creates a terrible pooling spot for the water. So I would need to add some straps. There we go. That's how it needs to sit. So there's some straps here in the corner, and I did tighten those. When the canvas cools down from the water, it stretches. And so this becomes not as helpful. So maybe you'd have to tighten it up again or potentially put another strap here. All right, so is it waterproof? The obvious answer is no. The test was very successful in revealing that, as is the Wildernest, is absolutely not waterproof. But it did show that that DIY solution definitely does repel a lot of water. I think the more important part about this test was revealing that there are other things that I can do to help make the Wildernest more waterproof. I could potentially put some straps around that bottom section to tighten things up. I could make sure the frame is pushing out the canvas to make that canvas as tight as possible. So I'm really glad that I did this test. And now the sun's out and this thing gets to dry out. Thanks for watching.